So, how does digital currency save millions of dollars for governments, or potentially could save millions of dollars for governments all across the world? And how does Bitcoin is at the tipping point? And where does Dogecoin fit in this entire picture? What's up, YouTube community? Welcome to Invest Desk, your number one channel for investing in cryptocurrency with daily updates, news, and forecasts. My name is Syed, and today we're going to take a deep dive into these three agenda points. Okay, very important, so bear with me on this. It's super exciting where we stand at this point in time. So once again, we're going to take a look at how does digital currency save millions of dollars for governments all across the globe, and what are they actually doing about it, right? Where are the initiatives? What's going on? That's important to know because it directly impacts cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, others, and especially Dogecoin, because this is where I'm going to be focusing on, of course, right after we talk about how Bitcoin is at the tipping point. What does that mean? We'll take a look at this. This is very exciting. So welcome once again. So if you're new, I'd like to welcome you to this channel. This is your number one channel for news, updates, and forecasts, predictions for Dogecoin primarily, but we also talk about once in a while other cryptocurrencies, especially if it relates to Dogecoin. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and of course, if you like the content, I appreciate your support. So we'll take a look at what those things are, and I'll be sharing with you some very important facts, okay? And these facts are key as we move forward. Okay, so let's dive right into it, and before I do, let me just quickly verify that everything is functioning well and we have our chat well. Yes, everything looks good. Awesome. So once again, we're into very important agenda points today about Dogecoin and Bitcoin especially, and more importantly, digital currency across the globe, and how countries across the globe are implementing or have rather implemented. And you'll be surprised that there's countries who have actually implemented digital currency as part of the mainstream, and we'll take a look at what those are and how is the United States coping up with this and what's going on. Okay, so all of this kind of falls into place, but I'm going to have some breaking news regarding Bitcoin, which is on the tipping point, okay, with large institutions, enterprise level organizations that are going to do something with Bitcoin, but I'm not going to give that away. I'm going to wait until we actually go through it. All right, so we know that the world has been, in a serious discussion about whether or not to digitize their fiat currency, right? That their paper currency dollars or whatever currency you're using. And China, by the way, piloted a national digital currency. And this was last year, I believe in March or April last year. They actually introduced a digital currency in China, okay? And the European Central Bank, let's go back to Europe here, they basically put together all these working groups, right? These think tanks to work on a national digital currency. And that was the idea, right? To coordinate the research and development, see how it can be regulated, see how it can be implemented. And there's several reasons why worldwide countries are actually thinking about it and doing it. Okay, and we'll talk about those reasons as well. So similarly, the United States Federal Reserve said that it was also in the early stages of researching the digital dollar. Okay, I'm going to talk about that quite extensively because that's important to know, and how that kind of either is in direct competition with Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and other crypto, altcoins, or is that something that can run parallel? Okay, so we'll try to dig into that and come up with something that really stands out, and that's important. So make sure you stay with this and kind of put your comments in, because this is an important discussion I'm going to have about Bitcoin at the tipping point and how it relates to Dogecoin. So the idea is that today we see that more and more e-commerce transactions, platforms, at enterprise level, one way or the other, it's growing exponentially. Okay, and even globally, these transactions are all digitized in one form or the other. Right? So, and countries kind of like this idea because it reduces their cost of printing money and the rest of the areas. But of course, security is still the main issue with most of these transactions, especially across borders. So Bitcoin could be at the start of the massive transformation, by the way, okay, into mainstream. And that's key. That's one of the things that I want to talk about. How is it at the tipping point? And it's on the path to become the currency choice for international trade, okay? Not local. You're not going to buy McDonald's with Bitcoin, okay? And we established that yesterday. So you're welcome to go check out the stream, a couple of days ago, or even yesterday I streamed where we talked about the differences in Bitcoin and how it's positioned as a deflationary currency versus Dogecoin as an inflationary, right? So we talked about that. So go check that out. I'd appreciate that. But Bitcoin is definitely at the start of massive, it's transforming itself. And this is according to the leading investment bank, the Citicorp or the Citigroup, okay? That group basically just came out with the report. And let me see if I can just bring that up so we can actually see. Where is that report? I'm going to be sharing so many good things with you today. This is super exciting. There we go. So this is the report, guys. This is the report by Citigroup, which titled Bitcoin at the Tipping Point. And that's exactly what I use because this is super, super good to take a look at and what they're actually doing and what's going on and how it relates to other cryptocurrencies. Because Bitcoin, of course, being the leading crypto. Okay, it's the number 1 ranking on the chart, whereas Dogecoin is on number 14. So Bitcoin, of course, being the leader of the pack, right? That's the idea. However, we know that Bitcoin is positioned, is subjective, is different. They're not, all cryptocurrencies are not the same, okay? They have their unique characteristics. Their designs are different. And this is exactly where Bitcoin comes into play when we talk about how it's different and why it's going to help other cryptocurrencies like Dogecoin, for example, is positioned in an excellent manner. But before I move into this report, dig deeper, welcome again to the channel. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button and the bell notification. Super exciting. I'm happy to grow and thank you guys so much for your support. And of course, let's take a look at the price too first. Sultimus, have you purchased Doge? Well, yeah, the price was low, of course. When it was at the dip, we purchased it, and that was great, right? Let me bring up the chart quick before I talk about this, right? And Deepak just subscribed. Thank you, Deepak. Appreciate your support. All right, so let's bring up the chart here. And Joseph also subscribed. Awesome, Joseph. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your support. In the meantime, I'm going to try to bring this up. Lane, excellent. Thank you, guy. Appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. And I'm going to bring this up quick. Solo Prepper. Awesome. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. So let's look at the price quick before I actually get into how Bitcoin is at the tipping point and how it relates to Dogecoin. Juan Vasquez, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hit those subscribe buttons. Awesome. This is great. So the Bitcoin. Geez, Tom, thank you so much, man. This is super exciting. All right, I gotta go move forward here. So Bitcoin was at the lowest. And I believe this is Jesus Mangual. Thank you so much. Bitcoin was the lowest at 0.041, right? This was the chart. Let me see if I can make it zoom in a little bit. Burke, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate it. Keep hitting those subscribe button. This is awesome. All right, so let me zoom in. There we go. So right now Doge is at 0.048. It actually went up all the way up to 0.050, which is about the same average price as last week. And we did our weekly analysis last week, and we kind of found out this was on I believe a couple of days ago. I streamed for the entire week into an Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to do the same for this week coming in. So super excited. It's Monday in the United States, and this is exactly where we are. Dogecoin is at 0.048, 0.049. about the same, right, range picking up, but it was at a dip early on. It was at 0.045. Okay, so let me know if you bought at the dip. All right, because this is important. This is where you would have the opportunity to accumulate Dogecoin for yourself, and of course this is in the long run. Okay, so we know what the price is. This is what the chart says. All right, so let's get back to our discussion on how Bitcoin is at the tipping point. Okay, and get those comments coming in too, by the way. Let me know. All right, so let's bring up the report quick one more time. There we go. So this is the report, by the way. I have it in PDF. I went to Citi themselves and kind of researched it, downloaded it, and we will take a look at how this is basically helps us, or how this report and what this report is all about, and how Bitcoin is positioned well when we talk about Bitcoin being at the tipping point. And this is just released, by the way. Okay, just a few hours ago, by the way. This is not an old report. This is just a few hours ago. Citigroup, again, this is March 2021, 1st March. Okay, and that's exactly where we are with Bitcoin at the tipping point. But what is this all about, right? So I'm not going to, of course, go through the report. This is about over 100-page report. If you need the report in PDF, shoot me a message. Let me know. I'll be happy to send you the link so that you can download the report if you need to kind of take a look at it yourself. But this is exciting. I'm going to share some super great news. So we'll summarize it. Okay. Now I've been through the report, so this is great, but I'm not going to go through it with you in detail. I'm just going to highlight the ones that I have found very interesting. What's happening with Bitcoin, and of course how it implicitly, right, relates to Dogecoin. So Bitcoin, of course, at the start of massive transformation into the mainstream on the path to become the currency of choice for international trade. And this is important because international trade is where Bitcoin fits perfectly well, right? Positioned for that, okay, for large transactions. Let's talk about some key facts here as per the report, just highlighting some of the important ones so you know what's in the report. So it's published Monday, just a few hours ago. The Citi analyst said that the world's most popular cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, right, number one on the chart, was at a tipping point between widespread adoption for an implosion, right? A speculative implosion. Now, Bitcoin's basically, if you look at it as a payment tool, the increasing availability of digital wallets all across the globe, and institutional interest, right? Like Tesla bought $1.5 billion Bitcoin. Another organization, by the way, MicroStrategy, go look that up. MicroStrategy bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin too. This is also one of the news. I'm going to be sharing that in depth later on. And MasterCard CEO thinking of implementing some type of digital currency, although MasterCard CEO is more inclined towards a stable coin such as maybe Dogecoin, right? That makes sense. But that's really the key in terms of Bitcoin, growing as a payment tool. So the Citigroup also described Bitcoin as the North Star of the blockchain ecosystem, okay? Because of the underlying technology launching an entirely new domain of the digital economy around it, okay? And that's really where Bitcoin is positioned at. But of course, there are always risks with everything. There's always risks and obstacles that we could see. The Bitcoin, bubble kind of burst, and we saw that because it went all the way up to 58. And right now, Bitcoin is at 48, right? So it jumped up a little bit, just most likely because of this news. So there are certainly risks that are associated as we move along into the future, right? So institutional investment within the COVID-19 pandemic couple of years, as it has been going on over a year now, right? They would basically, post-COVID would remove the key pillar of support for Bitcoin. And that's what Citigroup said, right? And anticipated regulation and oversight Once again, that's important. We talked about that in yesterday's talk. We looked at how cryptocurrency is going to be regulated and what are the steps that governments are taking, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more today as well. But basically, the anticipated regulation and oversight, which runs counter to the anti-establishment ideology, right, underpinning the cryptocurrency, could also cause many and most innovative developers and entrepreneurs to exit the ecosystem. Okay, so they also said that. But here's something interesting. Okay, remember what Elon Musk, Tesla CEO, he said for Bitcoin, that's what he said, right? He said Bitcoin is really on the verge of getting broad acceptance by sort of conventional finance people. Okay, and that's what's happening. And he said that in his Clubhouse chat, right, earlier this year. And we also know that, of course, I mentioned Tesla bought billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, including MicroStrategy also bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. And this kind of transformation for Bitcoin, by the way, to the de facto currency of international trade or world trade, if that actually ends up happening, it is happening rather. We're almost there, right at the tipping point. That's the deal. Which currently, by the way, is the currency that's holding the status is the dollar. Okay, of course. All, for example, letters of credit or international trade payments are happening in US dollar. If this gets replaced, or at least we'll have another option of digital dollar like Bitcoin, for example, that would be something, right? That is going to be something. Now that something trickles down to our Dogecoin, okay? Because Dogecoin, remember, we talked about this in the yesterday's stream, this is going to be a people's currency. So Dogecoin is not positioned, because it's an inflationary design, it's not positioned to be involved in large transactions, okay? It's positioned for you to go buy your clothes, go buy your food, go buy, take a cab or whatever it is that you want to do, your daily life. It's a people's currency. So this, of course, transformation is great for Bitcoin and for Dogecoin. Okay, so Bitcoin could be at the start of this transformation in going mainstream as a preferred currency, right? That's what the report said. This is the report by Citi Global Perspective and Solutions, called the GPS. Okay. And the bank also mentioned that major institutional investors and organizations around the world, of course, are now supporting Bitcoin. Okay, so this is super exciting, and I'm going to go through this report with you. But let me bring up quickly another graphic here. See if it comes up. This is on page 4. So this talks about the mainstream acceptance or speculative implosion, right? So which one is it? So Bitcoin showing growing levels of adoption. I just talked about this, right? This is happening. And institutional interest in Bitcoin accelerates very, very rapidly. So this kind of chart summarizes where and how Bitcoin is well positioned for international trade. So the report kind of talks about this in depth, that Bitcoin is now many things, from a payment method to a store of value, but the world's largest cryptocurrency is definitely currently at a tipping point. So these Citigroup analysts said that Bitcoin has inspired the evolution of a blockchain-based economy. And that's true, that's true. So to some, Bitcoin is simply a payment system based on this new technology set to, basically like rewiring of the entire payment landscape. It's going to change the entire infrastructure. So now you're going to have, let's say, letters of credit in Bitcoin, as opposed to your regular banking channels, okay? Or at least you should have the option. So, and that's really where what this report kind of mentions, right? So looking forward, the report basically suggests, in a nutshell, and I'm going to give this to you, this could become the currency of choice of international trade, because the reason why Bitcoin could become is because of its decentralized design, right? Of course, we know blockchain, it's decentralized, and lack of foreign exchange exposure. That's the second point. The third is fast and potentially cheaper money movements. Okay, because the normal banking, international banking transactions, I don't know if you know this or not, but it could take 3 days, 4 days, right? 2 days, depending on how fast and where the money goes from one bank to the other and so forth, right? So it's a complicated network. Whereas in Bitcoin, you could have it settled in 10 minutes. Okay, so that's pretty good. That in fact is going to increase more and more trade, right? So it has could have a ripple effect moving forward. So first is, of course, the currency choice of international trade, thanks to its decentralization design, the lack of foreign exchange exposure, and of course it's fast, cheaper money movement, secure payment channels, and traceability, right? So no matter how wild, by the way, digital currency may sound for someone, even if you're not tech savvy, but those who understand economics and finances, right, you will see the immediate benefit system of this for sure. Okay, and there's no doubt about it. Because why is this so? Because printing money will become much easier in future and cost nothing but the already common costs of inflation, right? So the amount of paper will stop being wasted on banknotes. It's going to solve and reduce billions and billions of dollars, okay, for especially the United States and of course other countries of the world. And this is really what the Europeans are working on. Within the United States, there's initiatives coming up. We talked about the Digital Dollar Project.org. I mentioned that yesterday. In collaboration with MIT, the Fed Reserve is actually looking into coming up with a digital dollar, right? So, and one of the main reasons, of course, is data also, because it'll be very advantageous for all these governments to basically, for governments' access to and all transactions happening within the authorized networks. Of course, they're going to be regulated, right? So the government is going to have some form of regulation, and they're talking about it, they're thinking about it, okay? And these days it's becoming definitely difficult to control the cash flow and prevent small cases of different like money laundering between countries. So this is also going to solve those aspects. And more importantly, I just talked about this, cutting costs for printing money. That's going to solve and reduce a lot of cents. Did you know, by the way, that making one US dollar banknote, it actually costs 5 cents? That's the cost. Or let's say one Doge. Should we say one Doge? Yeah, one Dogecoin. It actually what it takes to basically print one US dollar. All right, so welcome guys, appreciate it. We're talking about how Bitcoin is at the tipping point and how it relates to Dogecoin, and of course the concept of digital currency all across the globe and which countries are implementing. So I'm talking about this. I'm sharing a report which just came out a couple of hours ago by the Citigroup, which is the leading investment bank, and we are exploring some of the key points only. I've gone through the report, so I'm not gonna go in depth about all of this, but I'm just sharing the important areas so that we understand how cryptocurrencies are positioned, especially where Dogecoin is. Okay, so I have it up on the screen, this particular graphic that talks about mainstream acceptance or speculative implosion, but definitely Citigroup says that it is an acceptance of Bitcoin for international trade and moving forward because of the nature of Bitcoin itself. Okay, all right, so and that's really the saving part of it, where you save, the governments can save billions of dollars and not have to print physical paper, right? Because really, for example, the Federal Reserve, the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, right? They basically create about 7 billion paper notes with a total value of 130 billion, right? And this was a few years ago, which every year they do this, which adds up to about 25 to 30 million notes per day. Okay, so all these costs are going to be saved if everything is translated or transferred to or opted for a digital currency. That's really a simple way, right? Well, not so because the government is actively thinking how to regulate it. Okay, so that's the key part, and that's why the United States government, the Federal Reserve, is talking about CBDC, which is a central bank digital currency. Okay, and we're going to talk about how it relates, whether it's in direct competition with Bitcoin, Dogecoin, other altcoins, or is that something going to drive as we move forward? It'll be advantageous to all these cryptocurrencies, and definitely it'll be a benefit. So welcome to this channel, guys. We're talking about an important area that relates to Dogecoin. So if you've not hit the subscribe button, I appreciate you subscribing to the channel and making sure getting those comments in, and of course hit the like button, like enjoying the content so far. So I'm going to scroll down the report so you can see the other aspects as well, but this kind of gives you a nice idea. So if you need the report, let me know. I'll put it in the description below so you can actually have it yourself as well. The next infographic that I'm going to talk about just briefly, why Bitcoin is at the tipping point. This is the report that just came out by leading investment bank called Citigroup, right? And that's what it is. So we'll take a look at the next couple of things here I want to share. All right, in the meantime, I'm gonna bring up our subscriber jar. So keep hitting the subscribe button, guys. Where's the jar? There it is. This is our jar, and again, I appreciate your support. You guys are awesome. All right, so let's scroll down. There we go. And this is our next slide here. So the entrance of institutional investors has certainly sparked confidence in cryptocurrency. Okay, but there are still persistent issues that could limit widespread adoption, because for these institutional investors, they include concerns over capital efficiency, insurance, custody, security, regulations, and mining, and so on. But all of these areas are solvable and actively being discussed. There are countries that I'm going to share next. There are countries who have actually implemented cryptocurrency. Okay, so let's go to the next one. I'm going to share a couple more things, very important ones in this report. So it's a long report, by the way, but this will help right here on page 25. This is the ecosystem, kind of shows you, well, not that one, pardon me, let's go down. I had it marked here. Is it this regarding the international trade? All right, let's go down. I'm only going to show you one more. Okay, what is Bitcoin? We already know this. We've covered this past. Oh, there we go. There it is on page 73. Okay, so the evolution of payment ecosystem. So from 2008 and 2018, we saw that the integration of fiat currency as compared to cryptocurrency, they were pretty far away, right? So the traditional payment rails was far away. They were just two different ball games. Okay, so as time is progressing, so 2018 to present, right here, you see this in the graphic. Let me make it bigger. There we go. So right here, you can see that in 2018 and moving forward, the fiat currency and cryptocurrencies have joined hands. Right? Isn't this awesome? And guess what? It took from 2008 and 2018, that's about 10 years, right? And 2018 to 10 plus, 28. Guess what? Fiat currency is going to merge into cryptocurrencies. All right, so let's check up on some of these comments. Reality is, Bitcoin for large transactions. Yeah, definitely, of course. Doge for everything else. Perfectly, very well said. And that's exactly what it is, okay? So And that's really what this report is kind of talking about also. This report is talking about the fact that fiat currency is eventually going to merge into cryptocurrency, basically saying that we'll have a variety of the future holds for cryptocurrencies, okay? Because paper money is going to go away. It's going to save a lot of billions and billions of dollars anyways. And crypto being a disruptive technology, it's going to win going into the future. And you can see this by just this report, okay? And of course, Ethereum for contracts, yeah. Bitcoin for payment, large payments, Ethereum for contracts, because that's how these coins are designed, guys, right? That's exactly what we covered in our yesterday or a couple of days ago, and I have been talking about this. We took a look at extensively about the design of different cryptocurrencies, and it's important to know because as investors, right, as you're thinking about planning on your buying strategies, it's important to know the design of the cryptocurrencies, whether they're deflationary, whether it's inflationary, right, whether there's a cap or no cap, limited supply or not. So all of that depends when you make those decisions. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, guys, so I just do my own research and just share my knowledge and strategies that have helped me, of course, grow all these portfolios. So definitely you want to be able to know. But Doge, to me, is of course undervalued. It's only 5 cents. Yes, it's going to be people's currency. That's where we're pushing. That's where the communities are going, especially petitioning for Amazon to accept. And MasterCard CEO also announced that he's looking for a stable coin, right, for transactions, because typically your MasterCard Visa transactions are less than $100, $50, $20, $30, or you're buying for gas, you're paying for food and so on, right? Not too large of transactions, right? So majority are low end, and that's well positioned for Dogecoin. So that's something that we're talking about. We're talking about the report. So the central bank, the digital currency, the initiative called CBDC, by the way, or a national digital currency, right? It's simply the digital form of a country's fiat currency. So instead of printing paper bills and minting coins, right, the central bank simply issues like electronic tokens. Okay, so instead of coins, you'll have tokens, whose value is backed, of course, by the government, and that's what CBDC is, right? So, and of course, tokens are the digital representations of an asset, good or good, right, or currency with properties that are sufficient to transfer ownership. So you can own a token and you can transfer it, just like coins. That's exactly what digital currency is, and this is where the governments are working on. Okay, and digital dollar is basically U.S. money is expressed in U.S. dollars. Okay, or that. Remember Libra? I just want to bring this up. I just thought about it, right? In that Facebook. So is digital dollar sort of like Libra? Well, not really, because what they're proposing for this digital dollar would be issued by the Federal Reserve, right? Not a private organization like Facebook, which would constitute a liability of the Federal Reserve, similar to your paper currency. Okay, so therefore it's different. Okay, and this digital dollar be a new currency? Not really. It's not going to be new. This would only be a new format of Federal Reserve money. Okay, next to existing dollar bills and coins. So it's just going to swap from your paper currency to digital currency. Okay, so these are some of the areas, some of the key highlight points for digital currency. So welcome again. So if you're new, just make sure you subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. Thanks for the support. Hit the like button, and of course the bell notification if you want to get on top or stay on top of the latest and greatest news, updates, forecasts for Dogecoin, for Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies. But of course, I've been focusing primarily on Dogecoin. All right, let's see. I'm going to share a couple of new exciting updates also. Let's see if there was something else in this report. I think that was it, right? So yeah, it's a long report, so if you need it, let me know. But I just wanted to bring this up. A couple other things. I'm going to show you another graphic here. This is the title. This is from the Harvard Kennedy School Belfer Center for Science and International Affairs. Okay, and this is about 3 or 4 months old, right? A little 4 months old. But this was interesting as I was doing my research, and I'd like to share this kind of graphic with you on this. Let me see if I have a bigger picture. There we go. So this is the central bank digital currency tracker, okay? Basically known as the CBDC tracker, that shows where in the world is happening with cryptocurrencies. And down below is the legend. There we go. So these color coding kind of depicts what's happening in which country. So yellow is research, orange is development, then green is pilot, blue is inactive, and so on. So we're going to take a look at which countries are actually researching the ability to issue a CBDC, right? And which have actually launched and what's going on. So let's scroll up to the map here. So this yellow part is the research, okay? And orange is in development. So the United States and of course Canada is actually in the development phases of a digital currency, whereas yellow represents research. And this down here, the magenta color, is actually the one who's implemented, and this is South America, okay? That's what it is. And Latin America, right? Let me bring this tab up so you can see regarding regulating crypto. So one of the, and this is already happening, by the way, on August last year in Brazil, regulation came into force that requires Brazilian residents to report transactions involving cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this is kind of important because Brazil, one of the countries in Latin America, they've regulated cryptocurrencies. How? Simply, the Federal Revenue Service in Brazil basically declared by taxpayers, all these reports for 3 billion, 12.5 billion, and so on, declared by taxpayers between August and September 2019. And the central bank also has officially recognized cryptocurrencies as an asset in the calculation of the balance of payments, right? So it's actually happening, right? That's what's going on. So the idea is that digital currency, of course, is the future. We've been talking about this, and now as time progresses, every single day, okay, so I'm streaming a couple of times a day. This is super exciting because all this is adding up to where we position ourselves with Dogecoin. So let me bring up the map here for Dogecoin quick. There we go. Let's look at the price, right? So of course, Doge is at 0.049, 0.05, and that's where is the same range that we were looking at it earlier, or in fact for the last week or so. So thank you for your support, guys. Appreciate it. Make sure to hit the like button and do subscribe. So it helps, and thank you for supporting this channel. That kind of helps me quite a bit in terms of getting the research and getting the new things up for you. All right, so we're talking about how Bitcoin is at the tipping point, right, for international trade transactions because it's a payment gateway. And one of the comments, of course, I think it was Paul who said that this was Ethereum is for contracts and Bitcoin is for large payments, and Dogecoin, by the way, is the people's currency. So guess what? This triangulation fits perfectly well. Okay. All right. So a couple of more exciting news quickly I want to share. First is the developer news. By the way, I think I shared that yesterday. If you want to go check that stream out, where Dogecoin developers just announced that they made minor updates, right? And I talked about those updates in that stream. So if you want to go look that up, please do so. And then we talked about Citigroup. This is where Citigroup chief executive Michael Corbat said his bank is helping governments around the world in creating sovereign digital currencies, right? Or known as CBDCs. So that's what they're actually doing, right? Actively working on it. And then MasterCard, we talked about this yesterday. This is the MasterCard releases a platform. This is pretty much current, enabling central banks to test digital currencies. So the platform is already here, right? The future is here, guys. And that's what's happening. So this is about 3 months ago. So MasterCard, I believe it was yesterday in a stream, if I remember, the CEO said that he's looking for a stable coin to be implemented, right? And Dogecoin is that coin for small transactions. So it will fit perfectly well with MasterCard, Visa, Amazon, anywhere where there's small transactions. Okay, so hold tight. Dogecoin is the future. Dogecoin to $1.10. Let me know what you think. When is it going to hit $1? When is it going to hit 10 cents? So leave a comment. Let's hear it out. Let's see what's going on with Dogecoin getting to 10 cents. Okay, could be next week, could be a month from now. So let me know. Comment down below your thoughts on where Dogecoin is going to be in the next 3 months. And let me see if I can comment here, if it kind of shows up, right? When will Dogecoin reach $1, right? And this is again the people's currency. So let's see if that's the case, if that actually happens, right? And when, how soon Dogecoin can reach $1. So based on our analysis last week, the price has been stabilized at 0.05, right? 5-ish, that's the average. And of course it dipped yesterday, a little while ago. And then of course, if you bought it, thumbs up for you. So you're gonna buy and hold, and that's the strategy we've been talking about. Okay, all right. So this is of course Dogecoin currently, and let me go back to the MasterCard that's talked about, releases the platform that enables central banks to test digital currency. So all of this kind of adds up, right? So the reason why I put all this together, so you could actually see that it is just not a meme coin anymore, guys, right? It's not. It's actually real. It's been talked about. It is being backed by Elon Musk, right? And we talked about yesterday where Elon Musk said about its initial public offering for I believe it was Starlink, right? Yeah, it was Starlink. We talked about that yesterday in a stream. But retailers, okay, small companies, or and that kind of into being also purchased, Elon Musk implementing Dogecoin. The only Musk had was with the whale past 3 weeks or so. As long as they set size things Dogecoin, and that's exactly what we are. So that kind of if we have commerce is the future, definitely. Okay, so yeah, that's actually a good word, right? Doge commerce. So we had e-commerce, right, which is electronic, right? So yeah, that could be branded in something, right? That's super cool. All right, so I appreciate your support, guys. Welcome. Once what you think. Let me bring up the and see if I can refresh pages quickly. Support the content you making your investment decisions and understanding how they're what's happening. A report by Citigroup just came out just hours ago, talking about Bitcoin at the tipping point of transforming itself into international trade and commerce, right? And that's exactly what we're talking about here, how Bitcoin, if it does happen, if this actually gets to be at a place where it's being traded, right? Internationally, not traded internationally, but used as a payment mechanism for international transactions. You can imagine how easy would that be for trade between countries, between companies, and the settling time also will be easier. Okay, so for transaction settling time would also be much easier. Okay, and that's really what we're after. All right, so let's see some more comments. Let's see if we have, what do we have? We have reality. I'm the spoon, the fork, and the knife. Ethereum for con. Yeah, definitely. That's what we just talked about. Okay. So have you purchased Doge? Let me know if you did at the tipping point, and also when do you think is going to be at around $1? Okay. Let me write that again. I don't know if you got the first one or not. $1. Perfect. All right, so welcome guys, appreciate your support. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like, and of course the bell notification, so you are informed, stay informed for the latest updates and news regarding Dogecoin, Bitcoin, as they relate to Dogecoin. Our primary focus for this channel has been Dogecoin. This is a one stop area where you can find everything that you need to know about Dogecoin, so you make informed decisions. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, but it will help you as you build your portfolio. All right, so let's take a look at what else. So right now Bitcoin is at 0.049, 0.05, right? Went all the way up to 0.05, 0.0506, right? So about the same average the entire last week. So even today, Monday, and moving forward in this week, let's see how it pans out. So it's kind of, the graph is moving sideways, right? Which is could be an indication of a breaking point, right? Going up with all that is happening with Bitcoin. Talked about as an international, payment being accepted, and of course Ethereum for contracts, and Dogecoin is for us, for people, for all of us. And that happens, then this goes to 10 cents, this goes to 20, this goes to $1, $5, and depending on it's due to its inflationary design, of course there's more supply and therefore less demand, that keeps the prices stabilized. Okay, that's the bottom line with Dogecoin. That's how it's designed. And developers, by the way, made some updates too, so they are incentivized now to start to work on the cryptocurrency. Okay, so they made a couple of updates. I think there was one of the updates that did was the I think mempool cash. I have written down here. We talked about it yesterday, but yeah, they made some changes to it. Let me see if I can bring those up right here. Dogecoin Core 1.14.3. There we go. So they improved the synchronization speed, and then they reduced default mempool expiry time. Okay, so those are the important updates. Of course, there are other changes as well, but those are the ones that are important, that the Dogecoin developers kind of working on. Okay. All right. So yeah, welcome. Let's see comments here. Keep those comments coming in. I'm gonna see what's going on. So Nebulon Pixie, good day. Yeah, good day to you. Appreciate it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like, and the notification so you can actually see what's going on. So we're talking about Dogecoin and Bitcoin at the tipping point of being accepted as an international payment gateway, and that's what we're talking as part of our agenda. And we also talked about the CBDC, the government initiatives all across the globe. Within the United States, it's in development already. Okay, just a matter of time before the government announces a digital dollar. Okay, just a matter of time, whether it's 3 months from now, 6 months, 1 year, but definitely sooner than we all may think. Okay, so what happens to Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin is positioned extremely well in my research, in my analysis. It is going to be the people's currency, and that's how it has been seen by everyone. Okay, so if you want to transact on a regular basis, on a small, buying clothes, buying food, putting gas in your car, Dogecoin will be the people's currency. It is right now at number 14 on the chart, with of course number 1 being Bitcoin, number 2 being Ethereum. Okay, and that's how they've designed. The developers, the founders have designed these particular coins. Seems like they had a vision of the future, right? So that's kind of nice. So yeah, we just talked about this, so I hope this kind of helps. So make sure get those comments coming in, and see what do you think about when Dogecoin is going to hit $1, right? Based on everything that is going on and what we've been talking about for the last few days, right? If you have not checked out the other streams, go check them out. They're extremely useful. I'm sure you'll find them useful and informative. And let me know what you think. Okay, so we talked about the Bitcoin being at the tipping point, and how digital dollar initiative is coming all across the globe, and how companies are actually thinking and implementing. So Ruth J is following. Excellent. Thank you so much, Ruth. Appreciate it. You subscribing and supporting this channel. And of course my efforts in putting together all of this information, this research, so that you can make better and informed decisions for your portfolio, whether it's Dogecoin, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other altcoins that you want to take a look at. But this helps. Our focus has been Dogecoin to the moon. That's what we're after. Okay, and we've seen, by the way, Dogecoin grow 1,000% just in the last 2 months, right? Starting in January up till now. So it's been stabilized at about 0.05. That's where it is right now. Okay, and we hope that it kind of breaks, right? From 0.05 it goes to 10 cents. And of course the only way it's going to happen is through time. Okay, so be patient, make sure you buy and then you hold, right? There's no pumping and dumping here, guys. If you do, that's fine too. That's of course your decision, but my recommendation, of course, not being a financial advisor, just my own interest, my own research, and I share my knowledge and expertise. And of course we are closely monitoring Doge portfolio. So yeah, welcome John once again. Doge will take off. Yes, 3 rockets, perfect. It's going to go to the moon, and that's the idea. Okay, just a matter of time. The price in fact dropped yesterday. So, and of course we all get worried, right, when the price drops. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Well, just be patient. See where the price is right now. It's averaging about the same. Okay, it's right now at 0.0498, right? So just saw a little spike. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can actually see. There we go. So we just saw a little bit of vertical spike. That's the candlestick, right? 0.04. 9. So yeah, it's about at 0.05. That's the average. That's the average that's been around for the entire week. But the news that I talk about, the areas, whether it relates to Bitcoin or other coins or Dogecoin specifically, helps us understand more and more about the positioning of these currencies and their objectives, and how they're being viewed by government agencies, by institutions all across the globe, right? Or large enterprise organization, and that helps. So this is the reason why you will find this information only on this channel, perhaps, so that you can make better decisions. So yeah, we're talking about how Bitcoin is at the tipping point of being accepted as international payment gateway. Okay, all right, let's see what else I have. I'm going to share a couple of more things quickly with you. Let me bring up the other screen here. There we go. This is again the latest updates made by developers, which is Dogecoin Core 1.14.3. So it's at GitHub. If you are into development or software development, you will know exactly. You can go check that out. But a couple of things I want to show you is the, of course, MasterCard announced, which was about a couple of months ago, which enabling central banks to test digital currencies. We talked about that. We talked about the Citigroup report, and also e-commerce giant Rakuten. This is the Japanese Amazon, by the way. Okay, so Rakuten right now is also known as the Japanese Amazon. Lets users shop with cryptocurrency. So countries like Japan have already, or companies, within Japan, they've implemented this. Okay, so the Japanese e-commerce giant Rakuten is now allowing users to spend Bitcoin, which currently is at 48,519, up 10% from yesterday. And this is most likely because of the report of Citi that just came up, right? And some other factors as well. So Rakuten, of course, is now allowing users to spend Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies at merchants throughout Japan. And that's important. So this e-commerce giant, just like Amazon, right? If you go to Japan, you'll see Rakuten. In the United States and probably other parts of the world, it's Amazon, right? So if Amazon starts to accept Dogecoin as one of the currencies where you can buy and sell, that'll be an exciting day, wouldn't it, right? So according to Rakuten's cryptocurrency wallet can now exchange Bitcoin, Ethereum, right, Ether, and Bitcoin Cash for the firm's e-money, Rakuten Cash, or charge its space. So they've chosen these three currencies, and of course, definitely they could add more. So that's one of the things that I wanted to highlight quick here. And then of course, this is once again people to load payment app with cryptocurrencies. Rakuten one more time, and here it is. So it's often referred to as the Amazon of Japan. Announces customers can now load up Rakuten Pay accounts with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash, right? So these three are being offered, and what you can buy with these is of course everything, right? Anything, whatever, something Chinese or Japanese, I don't know. All right, and of course we talked about the digital dollar project. So if you want to look up more and find out more information, you can go to digitaldollarproject.org and kind of read about it and see what the United States Central Bank is doing regarding this, how they've teamed up with Accenture, which is a consulting firm, and they're kind of working together. And on another note, the government is also working with MIT to come up with its own blockchain infrastructure, right? Decentralized, but not the same decentralized as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies use. But they're thinking about, with MIT, they're kind of teaming up, thinking about coming up with their own variation or something like that, right? So we talked about that yesterday also. All right, so these are the main news and updates regarding Bitcoin being at the tipping point and how it kind of translates into Dogecoin, because our goal by taking a look at all this information, this data, the upcoming reports by Citigroup, for example, we talked about that, and then we talked about the central bank digital currency tracker. And of course, there's another piece of information, another document that talks about requirements for certain transactions, basically trying to regulate the cryptocurrency, right? So there's an agency in the United States called the FinCEN, which is basically, taking up comments from public in January, right? I believe January 10th or 11th. That's where the deadline was for any comments, if you want to comment about this report and give some suggestions to these organizations, because they have come up with a system of regulating cryptocurrency. So again, lots and lots happening very, very quickly, guys. This is also part of all of this, okay? So in the last 3 months or 2 months or even today, with the Citigroup report, all of this combined moving forward kind of tells you what's happening. So if you were to close your eyes, wake up 6 months from now, guess what? You'll find a different world, right? And that's the idea. So definitely, this has been great. So this is our main focus of how Bitcoin is at the tipping point. Okay, so we talked about this. So let me know your thoughts. Put some comments in. Let me know, let me know where Dogecoin will be. Okay, and that's our interest. Whether it's going to be hitting 10 cents or it's just going to go directly to $1. Okay, and when do you foresee it? Okay, so we talked about yesterday. We do this every day, right? So some of us thought about whether it's maybe in August or maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. Could be less. Okay, but either way, it is going to happen. It is happening. We see the prices go down. Of course, best time to buy is buy low. Either you sell high, right, if you want to pump and dump, or you hold. So let me know if you're holding or you're pumping and dumping. All right, so welcome if you're new. Welcome to Invest Desk. This is your #1 channel for latest updates, news regarding Dogecoin and Bitcoin and other. But primarily, we focus on Dogecoin. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys. I appreciate your support very much. This has been great. We've started this journey. We're going to continue this journey until we go to the moon. That's the idea, right? So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Put them in comments and hit the bell notification so you get notified as soon as I come up with new streams. And I do this, by the way, every single day, a couple of times, one in the morning and one at night in the afternoon as well. So every time there's something happening here, it's easier. Okay, all right, so Dogecoin just crossed 0.050. There we go. So it's back at the same range where it was yesterday, right? Or in fact, the entire last week. That's the average between 0.050 and 0.055, right? That's really what the benchmark is. So it's just right here. That's where it is. So it's just a matter of time when it kind of breaks out and goes to the moon, right? That's the idea. So the best time to buy, of course, is buy low, right? Not at when it's high. So depending on the average cost down, and we talked about that too. So go check out that stream where we actually analyze the entire cost and the decisions of how and when, at what average cost, and how to keep your buying costs low, right, over time. So we talked about those strategies as well. So I welcome once again to the channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and of course the like button too. And don't forget the notification, right? The bell, so you get to know exactly when the new streams or next stream is coming up. All right, let's take a look at some of the other things that I want to talk about quickly. Take up some comments. Ben, welcome Ben. Do you see a retest of the 47 support on BTC? I'm not sure whether we're going to see a retest of the 47 or not. Okay, well, we'll see how that pans out. Okay, we'll see how that goes. All right, some other comments. All right, so when do you think Dogecoin will hit $1? Let's take a look at that. And did you buy at the dip? So let me write this comment too. All right, did you buy the dip here? All right. So this has been awesome, guys. I really appreciate your support. You guys have been great. Keep those subscribe, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Appreciate your support very much. It's kind of helps me motivate and bring up all of this information for you every time something comes up, so you can make informed decisions, right? And that's really the key with what is happening, not only across the globe, but with cryptocurrencies, with governments being trying to regulate this, trying to figure out what's the best mechanism of regulating, if at all, if not coming up with their own digital dollars and kind of going crypto, right? I call it crypto, going digital in the future. And with these cryptocurrencies being already in place, like coins like Bitcoin, Ether, or Dogecoin, they're positioned and designed to do a certain task, and we know this. Okay, so it's just a matter of time when companies decide to get them on board, and that's really the tipping point. So we see the tipping point of Bitcoin, right, being accepted as a payment gateway for international trade and commerce, and the same thing definitely would follow for Ethereum, is probably for contracts, right? That's what it's designed for. And Dogecoin is just going to go to the moon as people's currency, which means that's going to be your daily currency that you can be using to buy and sell. And I talked about an example yesterday, by the way. Remember an example or a key difference between the Bitcoin and Dogecoin? So for example, if you were to, let's say, go to Starbucks to get a cup of coffee, right? And I talked about that yesterday too. I keep giving this example over and over again, I guess. And if you pay in Bitcoin to Starbucks, right, it's going to take about 10 minutes for the transaction to get processed, right, and verified. So in 10 minutes, of course, you're not going to stand at Starbucks, right? And they're not going to let you go unless you verify the transaction. Whereas in Dogecoin, the time is less than a minute. So if you pay Starbucks in Dogecoin, well, there you go. You pay it, you wait a few seconds, maybe less than a minute, something like that, and that's it. You're done. So that's exactly what Dogecoin is going to be doing. So let me know your thoughts. Put some comments in. Let me know what you think. Let me know what's going on. So definitely, let's bring up some comments here quick. So yeah, did you buy Dogecoin? So Paradox, yeah, definitely, good job. That's exactly what we're talking about here. We're going to buy low and either hold, or of course, again, it's your personal decision. I'm not a financial advisor, but of course that is your strategy with your own portfolios. The way I've designed my portfolios is, of course, one is for crypto, one is for stocks, one for equity. So there are multiple portfolios with different types of stocks, right? Because you want to get diversified. You want to keep yourself diversified as much as possible. But there are certain times when you want to, basically take money out of one and then dump it all in the next. And that's what exactly I did, and a couple of my other friends also were part of this group that did the same thing. So I know one took money out of Bitcoin and just bought Dogecoin, right? Because Bitcoin itself, of course, being a deflationary design, right? There's only limited supply, and that's what caused the price to go up for Bitcoin. Whereas Dogecoin is abundant. That's why the price is stabilized. Okay, so that's really the key differences between the two cryptos. Okay, so they're not the same. They're designed differently. They act differently. Okay, so keeping that in mind, that kind of helps you decide how you want to move forward with your investments, and where do you want to put your money, and for how long, whether it's long term, whether it's a short term gain. Because right now Bitcoin kind of went up about 10-11%, right, since yesterday. It's at 48,000 right now, and Dogecoin also is up about 4%. It's at 0.049, goes to 0.005, and then it's at 0.049. So from yesterday, it's about 4% up for Dogecoin. Okay, and same thing with Ethereum. So if you look at Ethereum, it's about 13% up, and then of course Cardano, ADA. I'm going to talk about this too. It's on my agenda. That's about 3% up. So that's really what is happening with all of this. So if you were to take a look at the this is a 15-minute chart. Let's look at real time, by the way. There it is. Okay, so look at the spike that kind of went up, all the way to 0.05, and then it's at 0.049. And the moving averages, I've listed those. I talked about those, by the way, whether it's a 200, 25, 7-day, and you can set this up anyway, but these are some of the common ones that the industry uses to come up with their moving averages. Okay. And another important area, note, just again, if you want to buy, try to buy placing a limit order, not a spot order. So spot means that whatever price prevails, the exchange is going to buy it for you. However, the lag that happens with this price, sometimes you may end up paying a little bit more, right? So with limit, you specify the exact amount of which price you want to purchase at. So it's up to you, but I just wanted to kind of mention this too. But definitely, this is where Dogecoin is at, 0.049, pretty much the same price where it has been for the last week or so, averaging, and that's exactly where we want it to be. Okay, so thank you so much for your support. These are the updates that I have right now. Make sure you put some comments, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate your support. You guys have been awesome. I'm going to grow this community and this channel so that we grow together with the latest updates, news, information for you to, and of course we also talk about technical analysis like indicators. I have it in my agenda. I'm going to be covering this next week, all week long, every single day. So hit the bell notification so you get notified. Okay, so I'm going to leave you at this. Thank you for the support. And I'm going to leave you at this, and I will see you next time. I'm going to go, of course, get a cup of coffee. And of course, we can still chit chat. So I'm going to leave this for a while. Again, get those comments coming in. Appreciate you. So Mara says, yes, of course. Thank you so much. Where do you see ETH going, ETH going? Well, ETH and basically Bitcoin, they kind of go together, right? Because both are large. One is at number 1, the other one is number 2. So if you follow the patterns of ETH, let me bring this up. Quick so you can see the chart. ETH is right now, just give it a few seconds for it to load. It's at 1,519, right? That's where ETH is. So it was down last week. It was at 14 something, right? 1490, 1490. So it's performing well, of course, as compared to a few days ago. So, but ETH and Bitcoin are 2 large cryptos, okay? And they're kind of positioned pretty well themselves. However, there are key differences between the two. Ethereum being designed for contracts, and Bitcoin for payment gateway, right? Large payment gateway. So both kind of are the top 2. Okay. So again, different design. So based on if you want to invest in Ethereum or Bitcoin, it depends on your own research and analysis as to where and how Ethernet will perform and what's going on with that particular crypto. Based on the news and environment and how companies are reacting to it. For example, Bitcoin is at the tipping point, and that's exactly what we've been talking about here, right? Why? Because Citigroup just came up with this report a few hours ago that I just shared, you saw, and we talked about it extensively, that once Bitcoin is accepted as an international payment gateway, right, that's really the transformation Bitcoin is seeing, right? Tesla buying $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, MicroStrategy company organization buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, right? So all of this is happening. Same thing with Ethereum. Now these organizations, of course, are going to be contracting, right, and working on that. So that's where Ethereum come in. So these top 3 currencies, this is the triangle that I've been talking about, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin being the people's currency. So I hope that kind of makes sense, right? So let me know what you think. Appreciate your comments, appreciate your support. But yeah, So at this point, I'm gonna leave you guys here. So I'm gonna leave the screen up so you can kind of chit chat a little bit. I'm gonna grab something, and then I'll be right back to check up on a few things. Okay. All right. So appreciate your support. Hit the subscribe button, guys, and the bell notification. I'm certainly around. I'm watching, and I will just see you shortly here. Okay.